What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another 150cc online video. Today I will be going over my favorite TV shows, and I'll be ranking them because why not? So, let's get into it. So, I would say, let's see. The first So the first show that we'll be going over is a classic. I mean, everybody has watched this show hopefully at least once in their lives. And it's SpongeBob SquarePants. So, I watched SpongeBob for a lot of years when I was little, like all the time with my best friend. Like I'd go over to his house and that's all we would do. We'd watch SpongeBob and play video games. Like that was just the daily routine. And so recently, I watched an episode of SpongeBob, one of the newer ones, and it's really dropped off. Like there was like, I don't even know how to explain this episode. There was like a squirrel, but it wasn't Sandy the squirrel, and it would only appear when they ate like mushroom like Krabby Patties. Like they'd trip out on these moldy Krabby Patties, and then they'd see this really fat squirrel. Like it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Like I was like, okay, not this, but the first like 4 to 6 seasons of SpongeBob were peak. I mean, it's pure comedy. Like just the good old Patrick and SpongeBob being absolute retards, and Squidward screaming outside of his tiki house. I mean, like 10 out of 10 show from seasons 1 through like I said, 6 or 7, and any other after that, F tier, man. Like terrible, absolutely dog shit. But yeah, so that's my opinion on SpongeBob SquarePants. Another show that I watched a lot as a kid was Amazing World of Gumball, and I absolutely loved this show from beginning to end. Like, unfortunately, it ended too early. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna be making any more episodes, but it like ended off like when what's his name, Rob, turned into a human and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be an epic finale for the next season. Nothing happened. So amazing show. My mom hates it because she thinks that Gumball and Darwin are the most annoying things on the planet, which is understandable. I mean, it's understandable, but I mean, not for me. I loved them. Like it was absolutely amazing. I watched that show daily, on the daily, like all the time. And honestly, I'll still watch it. That's just one show that like I love. I'll always love. Come on, how many? Right at the end of the race. Right at the end of the race. Oh my god. Well, that was shitty. So yeah, Amazing World of Gumball, S tier. Always will be. The next show is a show that actually I never watched as a kid, but I actually like watched the entire show like a month ago. Like I started and finished within like a month of time. Like it was just like me and my little sister, we just couldn't stop watching it. I mean, god damn it. We just couldn't stop watching it. It was amazing to us, and that's Regular Show. So if you haven't seen Regular Show, it's the weirdest show you'll ever watch. I mean, they call it Regular Show, but I mean the most random things happen every episode. Like the first episode was even just like them getting a keyboard that was like, I don't even remember the name of it. They had a name for it, and it was like an awesome keyboard that whatever they sang what happened. So they just went through a ton of different like situations where a lot of craziness happened, and then there was like and then I think one of the first episodes there was also like a flying demon head like arcade thing, and it was pretty awesome. Like we started watching the show and we're like, oh yeah, this is really cool and random. But our favorite character was Pops, and if you don't know who Pops is, he's this huge. He he's a lollipop man, I think. Like that's what we thought at first because he always sold like had his money in lollipops. He's like, "Oh, I'll pay for it," and then he pull out like 6 lollipops, and you're like, "What the hell, Pops? Like, what are you doing, dog?" And so yeah, and he'd always say, "Good show, good jolly good show." And Chloe, I mean, my little sister loved that part. Like it was like, I don't know, we just loved him. And then we started to realize that Pops was like really weird. There was one episode where he connects with nature, right? And he's like in the beginning of the episode, he's like, "Oh, I love nature," and he falls in a stream, gets bit by turtles, gets pricked, and he's like, "Why nature? Why?" And we'll just start dying. I mean, it was honestly hilarious at the time. Like, we were dying of laughter. And the show slowly starts to get weirder and weirder. Like, they get sent into space. Oh, come on, it's the end of the race. I gotta, come on, lock in, lock in. No. But yeah, they get sent into space, and the show starts to get really strange. You start to realize that Pops is like not from this planet. Like, he's not from Earth. It gets really weird. Okay, so the show starts to get a little weird when they get into space, because then you start to realize, like, Pops is way too nice of a guy. He's always looking at the bright side of things, which isn't too unnatural. But then you realize there's a complete opposite of Pops. He's pretty much a Discord mod. He'll just sit at his computer and give bad reviews to everything all the time. Like, it's just super negative, super bad, like, yada yada yada. You know what I'm trying to say. So it gets to the point where they're gonna fight, and like they realize, like, oh, this hasn't happened the first time. Like, it's happened like millions and millions of times, and it's pretty much like it revolves around the Big Bang Theory. Of the Big Bang Theory started with one big bang. That, God, no way. First turn is crazy, but it's like it revolves. I can't drive. Okay, the comeback will be crazy, but yeah. So it's pretty much the Big Bang Theory. The big universe comes together, and it implodes on itself, creates this big explosion, starts a new universe. Pretty much them punching each other's fists to each other and exploding the universe. That's pretty much the whole thing. And so Mordecai realizes this, and he like drives the ship in between them. They go back to the beginning, but then they realize like something's off. So they get that same keyboard from the same episode, and they're like, take us to the end, or whatever. And they realize, and Pops is like he knew it from the beginning. Like, he was not supposed to fight this guy. He's like, can't we resolve this without violence? And sure enough, he goes for the biggest bear hug I've ever seen a man give another man, and just makes him explode into the sun. They all live out long, healthy lives, and Pops is in like this heaven, and he like pulls out the regular show or whatever. Super cool, super epic. Me and my little sister were like, that is the best ending to a show of all time. God dang it. So, yeah. Alright. So, the next couple of shows are sitcoms. I think that's what they're called. So, Jessie and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I personally used to love Jessie, but I just watched it so much that I hated it. Like, I ended up hating it afterwards, because like it was just the same old thing over. Come on, I needed that in a different order. It was just so cringy. Like, I couldn't watch it. Like, I just hated it. Now, Fresh Prince, love that show. It was amazing. Like, it's still a little corny, but the Charlton dance and like all those like little moments, they were so good. Like, I loved it. And hold on, let me get a good placement here. Come on. Whatever, 6th place. But yeah, so hated Jessie, F tier. Fresh Prince was like a B tier. So the next show that I was talking about is Courage the Cowardly Dog. Now, if you've never seen Courage the Cowardly Dog, it's pretty much about a pink dog whose name is Courage, who gets himself in like super scary situations, like scarier than Scooby-Doo. Like, he'll be like with some weird creatures that would even freak me out as a little kid. And so the characters were Courage, and his 2 owners, which were an old woman, goddamn it, and an old man. And the old man gave 0 fucks. Like, he was always like, Courage, you get out there and see what's going on. And like Courage is like, oh heck no, I know exactly what's out there. I'm about to die. And he's like, I don't care. Like, get out there. And Courage couldn't talk. Obviously, he's a dog. So whenever he'd see one of these scary things, he'd go to his the woman owner, and he'd go, and he'd like point to himself, do a scary face, and then point to like outside and be like, obviously stating that there's something terrifying going on. And the grandma would be like, oh, Courage, would you like something to eat? Like, something random like that. She would have no idea what was going on. And Courage would like, and then the old man would always be like, that's it, I'm sick of hearing your whining. And he'd send him out with like a stick and like a helmet on, and he'd have to fight some big creature and somehow save his owners without the owners even knowing like what was going on. Like it was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome. So Courage the Cowardly Dog, like an A, like low A. It was really good, but I mean, it was pretty predictable. Speaking of predictable, Phineas and Ferb. Sure, it was the same thing every single episode. They'd Ferb, I know what we're doing today. Hey, where's Perry? Make some extravagant thing. Doofenshmirtz and Perry fight it out. If you don't know any of this, then watch Phineas and Ferb. I'm not explaining the whole thing. It's an amazing show, though. I mean, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. It's predictable, but I love it. And then Candace would try to get the boys busted or whatever. She'd always be like, Mom, come outside. The boys are doing this. And then Doofenshmirtz's invention would help prevent the mom from seeing it. Usually. So yeah, it was just one big motion that happened all the time. So Phineas and Ferb, I've watched that show like 30 times. Like I just absolutely oh come on. I didn't mean to throw that back. Absolutely amazing show. 10 out of 10. But yeah, that's probably all the time I'll have for. But hey, third place, that's a pretty good race. Yeah. Let me know what your favorite TV show is down in the comments. If I missed any good ones, let me know and I'll comment back to you, I guess. But yeah, that's it for this video. Stay tuned for the next one. Bye.
Yeah.